Hey, Matt, it's always so good to see you. How are things?
So good, brother. So good. It's spring's here and Easter for a lot of us is over. Not that it
Yeah,
wasn't.
Easter's
It's great.
behind
It's
us,
great. I
so
love
now, yeah, exactly. I was just at the Windshape, the Chick-fil-A family. They had a mental health collective. They invited about 50 people to gather up, and I had a chance to be a part of that. And they just talked about just the overwhelming mental health stress going on out there. And I was thinking about all my pastor friends I know who have had this sustained stress, extended ambiguity, all the things that are bad for that. And then, now we're here Easter, although Easter really seemed to go well for most. So I'm really glad about that. We're talking
Yeah.
about Spire today, Spire Conference, and Spire wants to help connect pastors together. We think we're better together, and we know the power and strength that comes when ministry leaders are connected up with each other. When men and women connect together, there's a lot of good that comes out of that. And the conference is one of the things we do. We do a lot of other stuff, huddles and webcasts and top golf events, but really the conference allows us to key out of things. So give me some of the highlights about how you see the conference going this year, what you're hoping for,
Yeah.
what happens for us in Orlando.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I love part of the reason because people, and I keep saying this, but I'm going to keep saying it. People keep saying, why Spire? And the honesty is, I'm not on staff with Spire. I'm not doing this.
Sure.
It's not like I'm doing it for a paycheck. But I just
And the
continue.
cool thing is, really, none of us are. So
Yeah, that's true. And so I think the beauty is what I keep seeing is maybe unlike ever before, we just need each other because people are saying Spire. What is Spire? Because you're you. But I keep saying, man, it's because there used to be this beacon in the neighborhood that everybody could look to know where they could go to get hope. And the reality is now that's us. That's us. We're the beacon. And that's the biggest blessing in my life. It's also an enormous weight, man, to be who, God has called us to be in the communities that we're in. It's a weight, and it's only gotten heavier in the 20 plus, almost 25 years I've been in ministry. It's only gotten heavier with the expectations, with, just the way, I was joking with some young guys I was pouring into this morning. I was like, you guys don't know how different it was when we started ministry, brother. I mean, and some of it was harder, functionally, but I remember getting a cell phone. Do you remember getting a cell phone for the very first time and how it changed ministry? And now to know that everybody's being compared to the very best speakers on planet Earth from podcasts. There's just so many different things. And so when it comes to Spire, bigger than speaking, and speaking's great. Although I do think that speaking at Spire has got its own little niche. I think there is something that's a little bit more real and genuine and raw that we're looking for when speakers come to Spire. But to your point, I think it's the connection. I think of all the people over the country that at things like Spire, and we've really created a ton of space for connection, relationships. Even the style of the kind of people that we have, there's just nobody acts like a big deal. Everybody it's a pretty flat conference. No, people aren't sitting around trying to figure out how many people do you lead and how big's your church. But it's brothers and sisters, and so it's connection, and the connection has been what I've seen the last couple of years has been so encouraging for my soul. Not just because of the connections and the speaking, all that stuff's been great. But our demographic has changed. We have a lot of young leaders,
Yep, exactly.
and we have seasoned leaders. I think that's kind of I don't know. Maybe you know more than me. I don't think I've ever seen it like this, where it's that big of a mix,
Yep.
which has been pretty fun.
One of the things I love is we do have seasoned leaders who want to hang and speak into and be available, but younger leaders as well who are bringing what they're learning, what they know, some of the stuff they're doing that we would have never thought of, in my generation of stuff. But the younger leaders are where we got to be pouring into, and that's what everybody's focus is. How do we help bless young leaders? because all the stats about pastors are not great, right? Less going into ministry, less staying in ministry. Some of the angst and anxiety that's starting to raise. This is a big deal, and we want to connect around that and speak into the lives of younger leaders, and particularly for leaders who are in churches that may not be as big resourced as some of the larger churches are. That's what I love about Spire. It really is kind of a equal playing field. We're all struggling in leadership. We all are challenged by leadership, and we want to know what to do, what's next. And this year, the theme is Leadership Reignited. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So, we got around praying, and, all of us were sitting there, okay, Lord, what do you want to do? What is unique about this year? How is this year different? And really last year, we were just coming out of kind of still a lot of people still in COVID, still coming out of it, and just felt like, last year was perfect. But this year when we were praying about it, we just got a couple pictures. One was, it feels like we're all starting over. It feels like we got new people, we've got new circumstances, we've got new, it is what it is. Everybody keeps people keep saying, when are they going to come back to the church, right? It's like, hey, just time out. You got who you've got. Now, how do we start over? How do we reignite the fuels of evangelism? How do we reignite just that passion that started? And so we're going to, some of it is we're going to be looking back, kind of to the book of Acts and just seeing how the church was ignited the first time, to see how we can be reignited, making sure we're kind of being ignited. But, all the speakers that we have coming in, we've got a great group. If you don't mind, I'll give you the run through.
Yeah. Do that, please.
Yeah, we've got people like, I'm sitting here looking at my list here. We've got Ben Stewart is coming in. If you haven't heard Ben Stewart, out of DC with passion, just a great guy. I love him. Kyle Idleman, I know him well. He's at a church. He's at my church. Excited to have him share. He's got a burning word. Ashley Woldridge is going to be in. And so we've got, guys like Orpheus Hayward. You don't know Orpheus yet, but Orpheus, great guy. I've heard him speak before, but just has a passion for the word. I can't wait to share him with our crew. We've got Lori Wilhite. Judd did such a great job last year. He really did open us up last year. And we're excited to have Lori. I think she's going to do a great job. We've got Nicomas Perez, and we've got Johnny Scott and Shane Wood and Jason Epperson. If you know, some of us have known Jason for a long time. But then we've got guys like Trip Lee. He's a rapper. I don't know how many people have heard him speak, but I'm just telling you, man, he is he's going to be a blast. We've got Daryl Land. Daryl, just faithful. I heard he had an amazing Easter. Daryl Land. People from different size churches, all with different dynamics.
I heard you just picked up Jenny Allen as well.
Jenny Allen is going to be there. Steve Carter, if you know Steve, good friend of ours. Steve Carter is going to be there. Sam Alberry, out of London, is now in Nashville. Great guy. So we're going to dive in. We've so many names, but it's going to be genuine. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be powerful. And it's gonna really, Ashley Weiss is going to be with us, who you'll just love, and she's going to be helping with some hosting. Sydney Clayton, out of Nashville area. I'm just telling you, we've got a killer lineup. I'm excited about it. And, but bigger than that, what I love about Spire is we kind of do, and it might've been your idea, Rick, I don't know, is we kind of do the TED Talk style. So we're hitting some topics, but we're not dragging it out. And then we really leverage the kind of the connection space, the hang time with teams, with new people. Yep. So that you just process. And, out of something, so everybody hits different, right? I mean, who were some of your favorites from last year? I was trying to think through what mine were.
I loved when Judd did a phenomenal job of kicking us off and just talking about the season we had been in and what we were doing. And then, I just lost her name. She teaches at Ozark. You know who I'm talking about. Sorry. She really,
Beth
yeah,
DeFazio.
Beth.
Yeah.
Beth did a phenomenal job. Sorry for the see the difference in age. So Beth did a terrific job just pulling us back into scripture and where we are in this season. I actually thought even some of the name type speakers, I thought Craig Rochelle, that was as good as I've ever heard Craig, and is just as straight up honest, like just sharing. And that's what we ask for with our Spire speakers is, hey, don't bring your road stuff. Don't bring your canned thing. Bring like what's going on in this moment for you as a leader, because one of the focuses for Spire, I don't know of any other conference that is as maybe team focused as it is. So you come with your team, whether that's some volunteer people, you've got 1 or 2 staff, or you've got 50 staff. And it's also focused around really practical ministry hatted people that we're talking to leaders. And so whether you're a youth pastor, a children's pastor, you're the minister of spiritual formation or whatever that is, or you're the lead, that we want you to have leadership issues that affect ministry leaders focused in on you. I was just with Halloran Hill, who spoke for us last year, and Hal said that was probably the finest conference I've been to for leaders, especially ministry leaders. He said, I go to a lot of stuff. I speak at a lot of events, and that's our hope. One of the reasons I love the under one roof thing that we've done so far, and whether that stays the model or not, I don't know, because it's not cheap, but I love this fact that you're there and you're not running off to get a meal and deciding you're going to bail out on a session. You're hanging in the hallways. People are hanging out at the lobby area, whatever it is. And that's the power of this event. It isn't always what's happening off the stage. It's what's going on in the hallways and restaurants. And the fact that we're all there in one place makes a big deal difference for us. So.
Yeah. And, every year, as we keep adding workshops and keep adding, like there's little niches, so we've got groups of, the pre-conference stuff where we're grabbing, I know this year we've got some connections pastors that want to get together. We've got some executive assistants of pastors that are like, hey, we could really use to connect with some people. And we're just creating a space for like-minded ministry people to connect. But then even, a good friend of mine, I don't know if I shared this with you or not, Rick, but I had one of the guys on our staff, and he didn't tell me until recently, but he said, brother, I came, African-American guy on our staff, one of my favorite people on planet Earth. And he said, I came, he said, but I'm being honest. He said, I had already decided I was going to leave ministry. And he said, but, it was on the calendar, and, he was coming with one of our campus pastors, and he was like, but I was just coming. And he said, and I got there, and he came to, he saw a class on burnout, and he was like, might as well. So he goes to the class on burnout before the conference even starts. I think the kickoff had already happened. And literally, he said, I sat at a table with a group of people just like me. And he said, something happened in me. And he was telling me, we're literally right down the road, grabbing a bite to eat, in tears, and just said, and God started something all over in me. And then he just started taking in those next 3 days. And so he said, look, I didn't know a single person other than us, but we were all busy. And he said, I didn't know a single person, but I'm telling you, that lit a fire in me. And literally, he's coming back this year. He's like, I'm running Connection. He's like, I know the power of what this conference can do for a guy like me that's ready to quit. And
that's so strong. I mean, that's really the hope, is that, and it's what comes after the conference, the connectivity, the relationships. I know a group that met at the conference in one of the huddles. Don't know which huddle it was. Don't remember that, but that group's now stayed together. They do a monthly Zoom call. They've got a time when they're trying to figure out how to connect up with each other. Because, really, if what we want to do is facilitate that connectivity and facilitate what's next and ideas. I mean, I've always tried to figure out, what's next in ministry. If I go back to my 20s, I was always trying to look around the corner as best you could. And none of us know, right? And none of us could have anticipated what happened with COVID. And now there's been a reset, and there's going to be some phenomenal new ministry opportunities that happen. I think technology and data usage and and figuring out how to do a better job with engagement, and all of those things are what's facing leaders today. And the difference we have today is COVID was that big disruptor, right? So we had, we were driving down a highway and we were making adjustments and shifting, and now it's like we look in the rearview mirror and there's nothing to compare it to, because we can't go back to those days. It's a different. I just saw a stat where 44 million people have not come back since COVID in the U.S. So there's a reset for us. But that's also a great time for opportunity. And so I love that Spire is about, how are we connecting with you personally? How are we resourcing? What's new? What's next? And where's the innovation coming? Because there's a lot of innovation. And the truth is, the innovation is going to come out of our younger leaders. And that's why I'm so glad they're there and present and part of that. What do you see as, if you had one big hope for coming out of the conference, where does that land for you?
I think it really is I don't know how to say this exactly, so I'll take a stab. I think there is a season of the churches, like I've been a part of some great church movements on their own. I was a part of a great church before I came here. I'm a part of a great church right now, and we're going, it's great. But I think there's a season of the church where it's going to take all of us together in a different way. And I can't put my finger on it. But COVID gave me a little shot of it. Like during COVID, I now know, and am close with, again, a ton of the pastors in our town, and we're together. And I think when I think of Spire, I think we are, the beauty of our independence is, and we have a lot more churches coming than just Christian churches. Yep. But people that are like, hey, we're with you on the word and we're with you on the Holy Spirit, and let's just go. But I'm just telling you I get excited about us doing something big together. And I think that only comes through relationship. And I think Spire, the amount of people that I've talked to in the last 2 years that have said, wow, I didn't know how bad I needed to be connected, because I have my own thing going, and you're so busy doing what you're doing. But we've just seen people just thriving in connection, growing, trying new things. I'm hearing more, hey, I called so-and-so. Hey, I called so-and-so. Hey, I just talked to, and it's just that they were hanging in the hall, but then they ran into this guy, that girl. And they just thought, I need to grab them. And so now the speed of relationship, I just see the way that that's helping the church grow and move and do something bigger together. And I just love it. And, like you, we've had so many, you're a little bit more senior than I am. But the amount of young guys and girls that I've had in my life that I feel like God's kind of give us, that are now all over the country, I so want them to win. I want them to win so bad. It's unbelievable. And so for them to come in and to have a rah-rah and to reconnect and refire the engines and remember what we're doing, to do that with a bunch of genuine people, I'm all in. So I get excited about it, brother.
Yeah, I think the challenges around ministry are substantive. Leadership is a challenge in any environment, and I think ministry is more so. What's always been true is the role is undefined often, and people wonder what you do. I remember being in a restaurant here in Longmont, and a guy came up to me. Our family was having dinner. It was like I don't know, Thursday night or something, and he said, hey, I'm new at church and I just love this. I've been coming 2 months. I've never been to church before. And he said, I know you're really busy on Sunday. I come at the 9:30 service. I know you're really busy. I just was wondering, what do you do the rest of the week? And there was a day when I would have tried to defend that. I said, well, we have services on Thursday and Saturday, so I'm busy those days, but the rest of the time I'm just hanging out doing nothing. The reality is it's an undefined job. It's unrealistic expectation. It's 24/7. You're never done. And we need each other. We don't just need good ideas. I hope we come out of Spire with a lot of great ideas about what's next. And I hope we have the chance to hear from some leaders and say, oh, I didn't think of that. What if I applied that in my situation? I need that too. But what I really need is the power that comes from other people who are doing what I'm doing. They may be doing it in a different setting, in a different geography, in a different size place. But they're doing ministry, and more than ever, We need men and women in ministry, pastors whose hearts can be buoyed up, because we're in a world that desperately needs hope, and we got to be dispensing that hope. So I'm really excited about Orlando. September's not that far away. Matt, praying for you because you've been doing such a great job of pulling all the mechanics together, and the team at Spire that's helping with that. I just am grateful and really looking forward to seeing you. Give me one last thing before we close out, and what you hope
Yeah,
for.
I just, it took me a second, but as you're sitting there talking and sharing, if I had one prayer for Spire, would be a little bit of what you just said. I used to come to these conferences and they were all preloaded with everybody coming, hoping that I used to hear this is what I do, and this is how big it is. And you just felt a lot of posturing, and then we all went home empty, and a little bit more arrogant than when we came, and feeling bad about it, some of us. But what I've seen is this growing vulnerability within our tribe that just says, hey, yeah, God's doing some great stuff. Here's where I'm struggling. Here's where I could need help. Here's where I could really use some connection. And man, watching the fruit out of that has just been powerful. So I'm excited about the conference. I am excited about the speakers. We got a great lineup. I'm excited about the heartbeat of it. But I'm praying that God meets us in our vulnerability and in our desire to do something bigger than us and does something better than we could have imagined. So
that's so good. And we'll pray for that. And hope everyone, we want to see you at Spire. We can get you the details at spire.network, but see you in Orlando.